Books, books. I like books. I'm gonna read them all.
Hi readers, Chris here. Welcome to my channel where I talk about fantasy, Stephen King, all sorts of books, and today I'm talking about my top most anticipated book releases for next month, March 2024. Typically, I always pick out a top 10 list of the books that I'm personally most interested in, but for the first time in a while, I could not find 10 books that I could actually see myself buying and reading. I don't know what it is about March. Obviously, there's tons of books that are coming out. It's just, for me personally, I couldn't find ones that I was interested in. So I did pick 9. However, I do have some honorable mentions, which didn't quite make the list because I couldn't see myself reading them, but maybe there might be ones that you are interested in. So, my honorable mentions are Murder Road by Simone St. James. I know she is a popular thriller author. This is her new book. I don't read a ton of thrillers, but I know a lot of you do, so you might be interested in this one. Meet Me in the Fourth Dimension by Rita Feinstein. This is a YA sci-fi book, and this one almost made the list because I feel like I don't read enough sci-fi, but this one sounds really cool. It just, again, I just couldn't see myself actually picking it up, but if you are into sci-fi, you might want to check that one out. The Day Tripper by James Goodhand. I have heard some people talking about this one. I think it's supposed to be one of those groundhog time travel type situations, which I really struggle with those type of books, so that's why it's not on my top 9 list. But again, if you're interested in it, go check it out. And finally, How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. Again, I don't read a lot of murder mysteries. However, if I did, I might consider this one because it sounds pretty cute, so I just wanted to mention it. So without further ado, let's jump into my top 9. These are not in any sort of order other than by publication date, so my number 1 pick for March is going to be The Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson. If you've been following me for a while, you will know I have just recently discovered Brandon Sanderson in the past few years, but what I've read, I've really liked so far, so I definitely want to get to this one eventually once I finish some of his other series. So I'm just going to read the description of this book on Amazon. This is one of those secret projects that he's been working on, and this one takes place in his Cosmere universe, which, again, I'm very new to, just discovering it, so this makes me really excited. So according to Amazon, this book says, running. Putting distance between himself and the relentless Night Brigade has been Nomad's strategy for years, staying 1 or 2 steps ahead of his pursuers by skipping through the Cosmere from one world to the next. But now, his powers too depleted to escape, Nomad finds himself trapped on Canticle, a planet that will kill anyone who doesn't keep moving. Fleeing the fires of a sunrise that melts the very stones, he is instantly caught up in the struggle between a heartless tyrant and the brave rebels who defy him. Failure means a quick death, incinerated by the sun, or a lifetime as a mindless slave. Tormented by the consequences of his past, Nomad must fight not only for his survival, but also for his very soul. Ooh, survival of the soul. I really like that. I've really been liking Sanderson's character work, so I'm hoping that this lives up to my expectations, and anyone who is a Sanderson fan, hopefully it lives up to your expectations. If you think it will, The Sunlit Man will be available on March 5th. My second pick for March is going to be The Encanto's Daughter by Melissa de la Cruz. You may recognize her name. She has written a bunch of YA fantasies. I don't know if it's most recently, but the way I know her is that she has written a couple of those Disney fantasy books. She specifically wrote a series that is based on Disney's TV movie, The Descendants. So if anyone remembers that, it was about the kids of the Disney villains. Anyway, I really liked it. But this is a new fantasy from her that sounds really, really interesting because it is allegedly inspired by Filipino mythology, which I know absolutely nothing about, but this sounds really cool. So this book says, MJ Rodriguez has spent her life hiding in the human world, keeping a heavy secret. She's half Encanto. As the only child of King Vinvencio of the Serena court, she's also next in line for the throne. And now, upon her estranged father's sudden death, MJ must claim her place as the rightful heir. In the wondrous Brinigan, the road to the throne is paved with thorns. Without a reigning monarch, the realm has spiraled into disarray. MJ has to win over a backstabbing council that objects to a half-human ruler. And when it looks like her father's passing wasn't natural, but possibly inflicted by a curse, she must hunt down the sorceresses behind this merciless magic. In a bind, MJ forges an unlikely alliance with the striking Sir Lucas of the feared Sigbin court, and soon she loses her heart to the mysterious knight. But with peril looming over Brinigan, the princess must decide if she can both open herself to love and carry the weight of the crown. Dun dun dun. Okay, on one hand, this does sound a bit like generic YA fantasy, love interest, all that stuff, but I'm hoping that like the Filipino mythology part will like make up for some of that. So if The Encanto's Daughter sounds like something you want to learn more about, it'll be available on March 5th. My third pick for March is going to be Book, Beast, and Crow by Elizabeth Byrne. And this book is being described as part The Hazelwood, part Stranger Things. I'm a fan of Stranger Things. I've never read The Hazelwood, but I feel like it's something I would like, so hopefully this is something I would like as well. So this book is about a girl named Anna Kellogg, who has always felt different. Growing up in Hartwood, New Jersey, where frequent disappearances are attributed to an urban legend-like beast that dwells in the walled-in swamp at the center of town, can have an effect on people. But for Anna, it's more than that. Since she was a child, she's been plagued by episodes where she sees things that others can't see. Feeling different is one thing, but actually being different is another. If it weren't for her best friend, Olivia, Anna's not sure where she would fit in. But any hopes of having a normal senior year come to a halt when Olivia is attacked in the woods, bitten, and left for dead by a whirling cyclone of claws, fur, and teeth. Though Olivia survives, a sinister entity makes it clear that the mark has been set on Anna, and the miss has set in motion a catastrophic shift that will change Anna and her friends' lives forever. Dun dun dun. Okay, so yeah, this book sounds like really dark and mysterious, and I'm all about like dark forests and that kind of stuff. So if that kind of stuff sounds like what you're interested in, Book, Beast, and Crow will be available on March 12th. My fourth pick for March is another YA fantasy, The Revenant Games by Margie Fuston. I've never heard of this author before, but this sounds like the type of book that I would normally gravitate towards. So, according to Amazon, this book says, blood is survival for 17-year-old Bly, who lives in the poverty-stricken human villages caught between enemy vampire and witch kingdoms. See, already right there, the book has already got me, but I digress. Most of the time, vampires and witches live an uneasy truce, buying human blood for their food and spells. But for 2 weeks a year, the ceasefire dissolves and they hold the Revenant Games. Any human can play in the games for either the witches or the vampires. Alongside life-changing riches, the witches will offer one person from the dead for whoever captures the highest-ranking vampire. In return, the vampires offer immortality to whoever captures the most powerful witch. For most humans, the games are a ticket out of poverty. For Bly, it's a chance to get back her dead sister, Elise, and save the life of her dying best friend, Emerson. Together, she and Emerson form a dangerous plan to play both sides and win both prizes. Resurrection for Elise and immortality for Emerson. But when the vampire they capture stirs a passion in Bly that she hasn't felt in a long time, she'll have to make a choice, her sister or the boy who's shown her there's more to life than just survival. So I feel like there's a lot of things going on here, right? It's like a little bit Hunger Games, a little bit Twilight. I feel like this book is pulling from a bunch of different classic YA stories, and And that has me really intrigued. So if the Revenant Games has you intrigued, it'll be available on March 19th. My fifth pick for March is the Last Bloodcarver by Vanessa Lee. And first, can we just appreciate this cover because it's super cool. But the book also sounds interesting as well. So this story is about Nika, who is a blood carver, a cold-hearted, ruthless being who can alter human biology with just a touch. Ooh! In the industrial city of Theumis, Nika is seen not as a healer, but as a monster that kills for pleasure. And in the city's criminal underbelly, the rarest of monsters are traded for gold. When Nika is finally caught by the infamous butchers, she's forced to heal the last witness to a high-profile murder. As Nika dives into the investigation, all signs point to Van Kochin, an alluring yet entitled physician's aide. Despite his relentless attempts to push her out of his opulent world, something inexplicable draws Nika to him. But when she discovers Kochin is not who he claims to be, Nika will be faced with a greater, more terrifying evil lurking in the city's center. Her only chance to survive lies in a terrible choice: become the dreaded monster the city fears, or risk jeopardizing the future of her kind. Ooh. Okay, I love books about monsters. I love the cover of this book. It's beautiful. It has so many good things going for it. I've never read anything by Vanessa Lee before. If anyone has, let me know in the comments section below. But yeah, this is definitely a book I could see myself reading. If it sounds like something you could see yourself reading, The Last Bloodcarver will be available on March 19th. My sixth pick for March is The Morningside by Tea Obreht, an author I haven't read, but I have had a copy of her book, The Tiger's Wife, on my shelf for years and years and years. Never read it, but maybe I'll read this one first because this one sounds a little bit more interesting to me. So according to Amazon, this book says, "There's the world that you can see, then there's the one you can't. Welcome to Morningside." After being expelled from their ancestral home in the not-so-distant future, Sylvia and her mother finally settle at the Morningside, a crumbling luxury tower in a place called Island City, where Sylvia's aunt Enya serves as the superintendent. Sylvia feels unmoored in her new life because her mother has been so diligently secretive about her family's past, and because the once vibrant city where she lives is now half underwater. Sylvia knows almost nothing about the place where she was born and spent her early years, nor does she fully understand why she and her mother had to leave. But in Enya, there is an opening, a person willing to give the young girl glimpses into the folk tales of her demolished homeland, a place of natural beauty and communal spirit that is lacking in Sylvia's lonely and impoverished reality. Enchanted by Enya's stories, Sylvia begins seeing the world with magical possibilities and becomes obsessed with the mysterious older woman who lives in the penthouse of Morningside. Bessie Duras is an enigma to everyone in the building. She has her own elevator entrance and leaves only to go out at night and walk her 3 massive hounds, often not returning into the early morning. Sylvia's mission to unravel the truth about this woman's life and her own haunted past may end up costing her everything. Startling, inventive, and profoundly moving, The Morningside is a novel about the stories we tell, the stories we refuse to tell, to make sense of where we came from and who we might hope to become. Yeah, I feel like this book has a lot going for it. I feel like this sounds more intriguing to me than The Tiger's Wife ever did. So if it sounds intriguing to you, The Morningside will be available on March 19th. Next up is Rainbow Black by Maggie Thrash, and once again, I love this cover. I love it because of that pop of purple that just really calls to me, so that's just me anyway. So once again, according to Amazon, this book is about 13-year-old Lacey Bond, a girl in New Hampshire growing up in the tranquility of her hippie parents' rural daycare center. Then the satanic panic hits. It's the summer of 1990 when Lacey's parents are handcuffed, flung into county jail, and faced with a torrent of jaw-dropping accusations as part of a mass hysteria sweeping the nation. When horrific murders bring Lacey to the breaking point, she makes a ruthless choice that will haunt her for decades. As an adult, Lacey mimes a normal life as the law clerk of an illustrious judge. She has a beautiful girlfriend, a measure of security, and the world has mostly forgotten about her. But after a tiny misstep spirals into an uncontrolled legal disaster, the hysteria threatens to begin all over again. Rainbow Black is an addictive, searing, high-octane triumph and imaginative tour de force about one woman's tireless desire to be free. Okay, normally when book blurbs start saying tour de force, that kind of turns me off because I feel like that phrase is overused so much when they're trying to, like, hype up a book. But I don't know, there's just something about this one that feels really, really interesting to me. I like the time period that it's set in, the 90s. I was born in 83, so I grew up in the 80s and 90s in that time period. The fact that it takes place on the East Coast, where I'm from. And yeah, Satanic Panic. I mean, that sounds super interesting to me. So if that sounds interesting to you, Rainbow Black will be available on March 19th. My 8th pick for March is going to be something a little bit different, and that is The Princess of Las Vegas by Cruz Bohjalian, whose name I'm sure I pronounced wrong, but I am a huge fan of The Crown. I have watched all the seasons, I've rewatched them. I love The Crown, so immediately when I saw this book, it called to me because it is about a Princess Diana impersonator, which, wow, I mean, just wow. So listen to what this book says. Chrissy Dowling has created a world that suits her perfectly. She passes her days by the pool in a private cabana. She splurges on ice cream but never gains an ounce. And each evening she transforms into a princess, performing her musical cabaret inspired by the life of the late Diana Spencer. Some might find her strange or even delusional, an American speaking with a British accent, hair feathered into a style 30 years old, living and working in a casino that has become a dated trash heap. On top of that, Chrissy's daily diet of Adderall and Valium leaves her more than a little tipsy. Her senator boyfriend has gone back to his wife, and her entire career rests on resembling a dead woman. And yet, fans see her for the gifted chameleon she is, showering her with gifts, letters, and sending ovations night after night. But when Chrissy's sister, Betsy, arrives in town with a new boyfriend and a teenage daughter, and when Richie Morley, the owner of the Buckingham Palace Casino, is savagely murdered, Chrissy's carefully constructed kingdom comes crashing down all around her. A riveting tale of identity, obsession, fintech, and high-octane mobsters, The Princess of Las Vegas is an addictive, wildly original thriller from one of our most extraordinary storytellers. Okay, I've never heard of this author before, but this book sounds really fascinating to me. It's got the crown element, the Princess Diana element. It's also got this like mob element. It's got the glitz and glam of Las Vegas, but it has that seedy underbelly too. I don't know. There's just something about this book that just really calls to me. I don't know why, but if it sounds like something that calls to you, The Princess of Las Vegas will be available on March 19th. And finally, that brings me to my last pick for the month, number 9, The Emperor in the Palace by Justinian Huang. And yes, this is supposed to be a romantasy, which sometimes I struggle with, but again, the cover and the description really seem interesting to me. So, it says about this book, what if I told you that the feeling of love is actually the feeling of metaphysical recognition when your soul remembers someone from a previous life? Ooh, that sounds absolutely fascinating. In the year 4 BC, an ambitious courtier is called upon to seduce the young emperor, but quickly discovers they are both ruled by blood, sex, and intrigue. In 1740, a lonely innkeeper agrees to help a mysterious visitor procure a rare medicine, only to leash an otherworldly terror instead. And in present-day Los Angeles, a college student meets a beautiful stranger and cannot shake the feeling they've met before. Across these seemingly unrelated timelines, woven together only by the twists and turns of fate, two men are reborn lifetime after lifetime. Within the treacherous walls of an ancient palace and the boundless forests of the Asian wilderness, to the heart-pounding cement and floors of underground rave scenes, our lovers are inexplicably drawn to each other, constantly tested by the worlds around them. As their many lives intertwine, they begin to realize the power of their undying love, a power that transcends time itself, but one that might consume them both. An unpredictable roller coaster of a debut novel, The Emperor in the Endless Palace is a genre-bending romantasy that challenges everything we think we know about true love. Ooh, that just gives me like the tingles. I absolutely love that this is a romantasy between two men, because most romantasies are between, female-male characters. So I love that we have two men that have this time epic reincarnated love story going on. It makes me think of a bit of Alec and Magnus from the Shadowhunter books. I don't know, this story has the potential to be something really special, I think, personally. So if it sounds like something that could be special to you, The Emperor in the Endless Palace will be available on March 26th. So there you have it. Those are all my picks for March 2024. And if you made it all the way to the end, you get a Roscoe. Hey Roscoe, can you stop kissing me to say hello to everyone? Can you show everyone your cute face? No, not my cute face. Your cute face. So those are the books that I'm most interested in, but now I want to know from you, what books are you most interested to reading in March? Was it one of the books I mentioned? Something I didn't? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel for more bookish stuff and more furry friends coming your way soon. All right, everyone. Happy reading. Thank you. Why? You act like I don't see you all day long. I love you too. I love you too. I love you too. I love you too.